everyone, welcome to the Anchor of the Week. My name is Zach.
And I'm Courtney, and we're an initiative of Hope and Anchor Community Church in London.
Each week we'll discuss different topics relevant to faith and Christianity in today's culture.
We're here to build a space for the church to share our experiences and challenge one another to grow in living a life.
Okay, hey guys, we are in our coffee shop in Camden. Good to be here.
Yes, live on location. We love it.
Yeah. So we have had a crazy day, Courtney, have we not? In fact, what have we been up to?
We've been up to so much, Zach. Honestly, we've had such a jam-packed full day. We started the morning actually in Parliament Square, where we were hitting up the Kill the Bill protest here in London. Really interesting, had some really amazing conversations with people. We didn't even film it. We just honestly did that one for fun. But it was really great. And then we came back here to Camden, where we are based, as you guys know. And yeah, we interviewed people for our Rejection series. And that was a good time.
Yeah, we got some good stuff for you guys. So, a couple, in fact, the two interviews we did, they're a little bit longer and completely different people as well. So, which is actually really cool. So, check out what they have to say. And then we'll do a bit of feedback post-interview. So, enjoy. So, Luca, you we talked earlier. You just mentioned that when it comes to work and people rejecting, I think, do you say you tattoo artist? Yeah. When people reject your work, that's not as important. But when it comes to the deeper stuff, inside, then it does affect you more. Is that right? Do you mind explaining that a bit more? Because I feel like you said, when we're in love or whatever, those kind of times in our life, I feel like we're more vulnerable and we're more open. And it's almost reveals a deeper side to you. And then when that gets rejected, it's that's hard to take. Do you want to just explain that a little bit for me?
Yeah, because for me, even if I see somebody, I don't know, at a party or in a club or somewhere, and it's really, I make an effort to go there and say something because getting rejected or having a say and hearing a no could be really hard for me. But instead, I don't mind to propose a drawing or to show my things around, even if I say, even there but because that is more about critic. I like to be pushed to do more and even reject this drawing to say, no, do it better. That's okay, but maybe because it's my person, I cannot really change what I am when I go through somebody else. So it's being rejected for who I am, and that's harder for me.
I think that big thing of being rejected for the person you are, that's tough to swallow, isn't it? That's quite emotional in a way. We're gonna come back to that, but I want to get Marta. So off camera, we were talking about kind of you see rejection with women a lot, and women getting rejected in things.
I think it's probably the other side of the medal of having to reject, and it's sometimes it's hard because you feel bad because you don't really want, but I don't know, I feel as a woman a lot of time in life sometimes you have a lot of really unwanted attentions or people that maybe like you and maybe you don't really like back. I mean, I'm sure it's the same as a male, but I don't know, it's I feel women get a lot of creeps in life, which is a bit different. And it's sometimes you feel bad because you need to hurt someone, and it's obviously it hurts too because I'm empathic, but I can't obviously accept everyone that comes and likes me in my life, and it's just not really how it works. And it's and the way people accept rejection as well is kind of important, because sometimes you try to be as polite as you can and just and still get quite nasty reactions, insults, or quite maybe aggressive behaviors, which are not really nice. And it's for us, as long as it hurts to be rejected, you can't really pretend to not be, if it makes sense. And there's two sides of the whole thing. It's of course it hurts, of course it's terrible, and it's I've been rejected myself in life in completely different contexts, and it sucks, it's terrible, but I reject it too, so I guess.
Can you think of a time in your life where rejection was a big thing, maybe in that scenario, but even more personal, maybe you being rejected yourself? Can you think of a time in your life? Would you mind just maybe just saying what that time was like?
For me, it's more when I was growing up, when I was a teenager. It's when I was a teenager, it's I was young, and it's more with friends. It's I was a bit of a weird kid. It's and no one really liked me, and it was like I was always kind of lonely, and I was like I never really felt I fit in any groups, so I was always a bit I had friends, but I felt like no one really liked me, and they just were with me by just because I was part of the group. So it's like I was always feeling very insecure about it, and I was like yeah, these are people supposed to be my friend, but I'm always the last choice of them just when they need me or when they don't have anyone else to see, and it's like that's kind of more of the feelings. Yeah.
I feel like a common theme, like with what you guys are both saying, is like that thing of like not being accepted, or like we're rejected for like kind of who we are almost, you know, like your scenario with kind of whether it's in a girl and a boy relationships and stuff, and then even friendship groups. Like I can really relate to that, and I feel like we're part of a church, us as a team, and I think like for me, like my faith plays a big role in that, in like that feeling of being accepted, because I know like Jesus, I don't know if you guys know much about Christianity and things, or and Jesus and God, but like I really like.
Being raised in Italy, you really know something.
Sorry, say that again. Sorry.
Raised in Italy, you're Catholic for
yeah.
born, so we know.
Yeah, I just know he accepts me for like who I am, and it's great. Like I don't have to like be this certain way for him to be like, "You're okay, like Zach, now you're okay, like now you're enough, like now I'll let you into my kingdom almost." Yeah, does like is faith part of your guys' life? I mean, in that whole acceptance thing, can you relate to that at all, or how do you deal with rejection then? Because that's my kind of way of dealing with it, if you like.
I don't really believe in God, or I don't really follow any religion. I mean, my spirituality is important. I have my own things to believe in, but it's not any religion. I understand what you mean, though. I totally get the feeling. It's just although growing up, I built my confidence, which is like I am who I am, and it's like if I like. And like the important thing is that I like the person I am, and it's like if I don't like the person I am and I get rejected because of something I don't even like about myself, maybe I'll force myself to correct and change that part of me. But if I get rejected for like something I cannot change, so whatever aesthetic it is, or for things that I actually like of myself, well, it's like so it's fine. It wasn't really meant to be, because this is who I am and this is who I love myself for. So it's like I just grew into being a bit more confident and just like to love myself, and not to need other people's love and like acceptance rather than my own.
Which is great, yeah. Like so, like what was your way of dealing with then? Like obviously with that friendship group you were with when you were young, like, and then when you did get rejection, like how did you deal with that exactly? Like,
I left the country. Yeah. I grew up. I hated my teenage years for a long time, and as soon as I finished school, I came to UK. And
so
now I have good friends. Yeah.
So you literally left. Gone and left what you were part of. That's interesting. What about you, Luca? It's like that whole like how would you then kind of deal with rejection and like that whole scenario you were talking us through earlier?
Well, my teenage years were like harder to get. Now, as I say, and try to take it easy. I know that like there's so many people, and it's just find connection. But like I was thinking about my side, because for me it's really hard to say no to anything, no, at work or to anybody asking favors, and I always have really struggled to say no because it's bad. So that's like sometimes I just say no, like by joke. Everybody asks me things, I say no, but then I say like I always do things if you ask me or stuff.
Is that because you want to please people and things, or is that just like because that whole side of feeling guilty? It's like because like I can relate again. It's like like I feel bad, like they rely on me, and like I feel like a responsibility to like help them out and things. Like why do you struggle with that?
Never really thought about it, but yeah, for me it's just if I can do something for anybody, for somebody else, I don't mind. But yes, saying no is just it's bad. You feel bad, but I don't know why I do it. Maybe for pleasing people, yes, maybe.
Yeah, I feel like just last point before we kind of just wrap up, but like I feel like the idea of like trying to always chase acceptance from people is just an overall big spiral. Like I feel like there's always gonna be people rejecting us constantly, you know. So I feel like just I don't know. I guess something to just encourage you guys, like something that I've really found is like my acceptance has come from Jesus, and I don't want to like be really over like spiritual and things, and yeah. But I just know like chasing people and their acceptance has like it's just been like chasing my own tail almost. Like, you know, that idea of like a dog chasing their own tail. Like, so yeah, just something interesting to think about. But thank you so much for joining us on the pod. Yeah, really appreciate what you guys had to say. Thank you.
Okay, all right, I am here with my 3 new friends. We got Mustafa, we got Kim, and we have Emily. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing all right.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for stopping to talk with us. But today we're asking the infamous question, what is rejection to you? Like, how do you view that? Because again, it's something that we all experience, but it's not, I don't like typically go to my friends and be like, hey, how have you been rejected today? You know, it's not like a prime conversation topic. So what is it to you? We start with you, Mustafa, but like what is rejection and how do you view it? How do you experience it?
I think rejection's a natural thing. It's just like, obviously, when you have 2 choices of either acceptance or rejection, it's bound to happen. But it's something that you shouldn't be scared of, nor should you be like in fear of it at all, because at one point in your life you are going to get rejected. It's just how you deal with it, no matter how hard it may hit you in the moment.
So you say not to be afraid of it, right? Because I feel like that is something that we all struggle with or like battle with, is the fear of rejection. So how do you like choose to not be afraid? Like what does that look like practically for you?
I mean, I tend to just try and act as fearless as possible, even though I might be scared to death of actually going through with something. But yeah, it's just kind of like putting on a brave face, essentially, just put on a smile whenever you're nervous, and act with confidence because no one can tell except yourself.
It's true, and I think a lot of times we base so much off of other people's perceptions of us. Do you find that to be like playing a part in that as well?
Definitely. I think modern day, I guess. Oh, it's such a weird way to say it, but like nowadays with social media and just like in general in friend groups, like outside perception or like wanting to fit in is such a big part of like today's youth. Essentially, it's really hard to avoid it when it's all around you.
Yeah, that is so true. That's really good stuff. I'm going to jump over to Kim real quick. Kim, what about you? How do you view rejection and kind of any examples even you have from your life? If not, that's fine. You don't have to get too deep, but...
Well, I think the only example I have of rejection in my life is, like failing exams or something like that. I fortunately passed all of my exams because I got my results during COVID, so it was all estimated. But I don't like sitting exams. I failed nearly all of my mock exams because I'm so bad at sitting exams. So that is my main, experience in rejection. Any social rejection, asking someone out, it's never really been, I've always been scared of the answer, so I just never put myself in a position like that. But then, with the exam thing, is that you will eventually have to face rejection, whether you put yourself out there or not. It is part of life.
Yeah, and it's interesting, too, because with the exam side of it, right, it's a certain standard that's been already put there, right? And say, okay, unless you meet the standard, then you are rejected, Do you see that, or, do you find that that's even played a role even on your mental health? Because I feel like a lot of these things have a bigger impact on us than we actually think, or maybe at first glance.
Oh yeah. I had panic attacks in my exams. I used to deal with panic attacks a lot, but it happened a lot during exams. One time during an English exam, we had 4 questions, so it was four A4 sides that you had to write. I wrote 3 sentences throughout the entire thing. I failed the exam, obviously, because I was so terrified of not doing that well that I got in my head. And then I didn't do well because I got upset over it, so...
And how have you kind of overcome that? Would you say that you've kind of overcome it, or something you're working on, or just kind of not letting that I guess, fear of rejection kind of stop you from moving forward? Because you said you passed your exams, which congratulations, but yeah.
Yeah, I think I have come over it because at college now I'm doing an art and design course, so it's a lot more flexible. It's something that I feel more comfortable doing. It's nothing that I get in over my head about. I know what I'm doing, I know that I'm good at it, and I know that I'm going to pass this, so I am more calm about the whole situation. It's not like school was very strict with you had to pass or you didn't. At college it's much more flexible with that sort of thing.
And it's interesting as well because you say you're in design right now, and right, it's something more creative, which I'm assuming is kind of more who you are, or the things that you're interested in. And do you find as well that maybe when you're kind of doing the things that you feel passionate about or that you feel like you were created to do, that you worry less about rejection? Or would you say that? Or
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't usually even think about rejection because I'm so focused on, like, I'm putting myself out there on this piece of artwork right now. I am putting myself on here, and I'm doing exactly what I know I'm supposed to be doing in this course. And I talk to people, I talk to my tutors, I talk to my friends. Instead of, like, at school, I just sat by myself and didn't do anything. Now I'm putting myself out there. I'm asking questions, and it's helped a lot as well, because even if there is something that I'm not too sure about, now I know because I've asked the question.
Oh, that's awesome. And that's cool to see, like, the growth as well, you know, because I think we grow all the time as humans. And so that's awesome to actually, like, hear that, you know, and to celebrate that. We're going to go to Emily now. I know. You've had a lot of time to think. But yeah, rejection to you, kind of what is it, or how have you coped with it? Again, any examples?
Oh goodness, I probably won't talk as much as these two.
That's okay.
But I'd say, in my opinion, I think I'm doing my A-levels now, and I didn't do the greatest on my mocks. And I think something my mum told me was it's not a life grade. So even though you're being rejected in some sense, there's still all different opportunities to go by. So that's kind of how I think of it. And also it kind of, I think it helps you grow as a person, and I think it helps you develop and mature, and it kind of, I think in some ways it can make you more wise and make better decisions for yourself. I think that'd be my definition. I think one thing that I've been rejected a lot is with friendships. I'm very shy and quite quiet on the whole, so a lot of the time I can't really add too much to a conversation. But I think it's just finding the right friends. Like here today, this is our first time meeting. We've been online. Yeah, I know.
And we're here for it. Oh my gosh, this is momentous. Okay.
I know.
Thank
but
you.
but it's honestly, today's been amazing, and it's nice to have people in your life that want to see you. So I think being rejected in some ways can kind of open you up to new experiences, and I'm quite thankful for that.
For sure. And it's, yeah, that whole aspect of we have to put ourselves out there, right? To be accepted, we have to be willing to be rejected. But that's so amazing. And I love this, their first time meeting. Did you guys get that? This is her first time meeting in person. And we're here for it. This is amazing. But yeah, any other, we're getting emotional, aren't we? Yeah. This is so beautiful. But like you guys are, okay, yeah, we're like young, but like you guys are younger than us. I just had a birthday. We won't say my age or anything. But for like people your age, right? That, as you said, are living in this like social media saturated, like it's so hard. Social anxiety, especially after COVID, you know, is so high. Like, what would be some advice that you'd give to people, maybe your age, that might be listening to this, or like how to step past that fear of rejection? Because obviously it works for you guys, you know what I mean? Like you guys step past that and you got a new friendship now. But is there anything that you would say, you know?
I think my mentality went from being very worried about everything to somewhat of a go with the flow thing, where don't worry about anything that's not in your complete control, and try to focus and make the most of and like look at every silver lining that you can in any option or anything that's in your own path, rather than worrying about what might happen in some cases which might not happen at all.
That's so good. Do you guys have anything or?
In exams terms, is that teachers can hate me for saying this, but it really does not matter that much about your GCSEs. I mean, like the only people who really care about it are your college and sixth form. But after that, they'll mostly judge your character and how you work, rather than whether you got a 6 in English or not. But even if you are stressing out about it, it's a cliche, but it does get better. You will face rejection at some point, but it will fly over as it always does. It always blows over in the end, and it always becomes better.
And it's cliche because it's true, right? So anything to add, Emily?
Yeah, I think when it comes to trying to find people that you match with, it's not trying to force yourself to kind of fit in. I think sometimes you have to just be yourself. I know it sounds cliche, but that's really how you'll find the happiness you want in life, in my opinion.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. You guys, that was real quality stuff, and it was so great to hear from you. So thank you guys.
Okay, so we've done our interviews. That was good, really good. I mean, we just want to do like a quick little feedback type gig. Yeah, what did you think, Courtney? I know. What about your interview? Why don't you talk us through that? What we thought was cool?
Yeah, no, it was awesome, and I loved I know I kind of like joked about it, like them being younger. But it was such an interesting perspective to have them actually be young in that sense. And because, you know, we think about like what we go through, you know, but like this topic applies to literally everyone in like every aspect of life. So to hear them talk about their schooling, you know, and how like big of a deal it is as well for them. And I just thought it was so interesting. But the thing I can't get over is that like, that was like their first time meeting in person, right? So like they met on the internet, and we were talking about rejection, and you know they talked a lot about, you know, being rejected or being accepted, and like having to put yourself out there, and like it's easier to not put yourself out there, you know, so you don't risk rejection. But that, like, they were actually living that and like going through that and pushing past that, like in real life. And I was like, that is so cool, and I hope they realize like what a big thing that is. But I thought that was so interesting, and they all had such, I know, different perspectives, but also very, I think, mature for their age as well, of understanding that like you can't please everyone, and that you always have to just kind of like do your best, but know that nothing is the end of the world. And I think, at least I remember when I was a teenager, like literally everything was the end of the world for me, you know what I mean? And to have them like just say that, or having that realization already, you know, that, okay, so if you are rejected, like it is not the end of the world, you know, like we can move past it, you know, and you will eventually find people. Like what they said at the end, like things will get better. I'm like, yeah, like you're right. Like it was just such a good perspective.
I think like something I always like see in those conversations is like, actually, like these guys can say like some really cool things, you know, like I don't know, it's very easy like just to walk by someone and be, you wouldn't think much, like I don't know, it's just quite easy to be like not judgmental in like a bad way, but just like, oh, like they don't have much to say, but like they come up with some really good stuff. Something I also noticed like from both interviews was like that whole like being rejected from the friendship group, and like trying to fit in with a group of some kind, you know, social group of, you know, whatever that looks like. Yeah, I feel like that's an area that we get rejected a lot in, or, you know, it's a common theme in everyone's life. And just like wanting to fit in to these people, like wanting to be liked, wanting to be accepted in that way. I know like rejection in that area was a big thing. Another one as well, which I think it was Luca, was like romantically, and like obviously, and like that was interesting to hear that as well, because I don't think we've really touched on that loads, have we? The relationships and stuff like that, you know. But like I know something that I really liked what he was saying was like, that's a sensitive area, because obviously you open up, you're a bit more vulnerable. Like I know he was talking about kind of people at clubs and nights and stuff, nightclubs and stuff, but even just generally, like when you just open up yourself like that, you're more vulnerable. And then when you get rejected in that vulnerable state, there's just something a bit more like sensitive about that. That hurts, and that's tough to deal with. I think that's like something we can't like just ignore. And it's interesting that like, yeah, like, because when you are a bit more vulnerable like that, it's a bit more about you know, like even though like you should take it a little bit better than maybe kind of how you can, but it's just
not so personally.
Whoa into the mic.
Oh, so maybe not so personally.
Yeah. No, yeah, you're right, but like it kind of like just makes you feel like it's about you know, just because you've opened up in that way. Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, we had a good time. Yeah,
really hope you guys were as challenged by those conversations as we were. As always, when we go to the streets, it's to challenge our perspective, and also to remember that like, hey, like we all go through this, you know, we all deal with rejection in one way or another. And as you said, like we always walk by people, so many people in a day, but to actually stop and be like, hey, like they have a story, you know, and they've battled with this and they've struggled with this and they're trying to overcome it. So just be mindful of that, you know, and have these conversations and like push for that vulnerability, I think, with people that you meet, because it's there, you know.
Yeah, I definitely like be encouraged, because it wasn't just the interviews we had, it was also like during the protests we had some great conversations. Like I'm on a proper high about that. So yeah, I am. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, yeah. Just check us out on the socials as always. Yeah, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for joining us for today's episode of the Anchor of the Week.
Make sure you follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube so you never miss an episode.
See you next time.